One of the key things when we start with a client is to define enterprise architecture. And everybody understands what it is, but it really is key to get on the same page in terms of how we look at it versus how they look at it. I look at enterprise architecture as all about alignment to the business goals and objectives, that is what you're trying to achieve. There are technical aspects of that, and there are also business and investment aspects of that. Enterprise architecture should span that entire end-to-end process. So we define it as how do you look at your business goals and objectives, and then what investments you're going to make, which are typically projects, and how do we make sure those are the right projects at the right time. That's a key part of enterprise architecture. Once you launch the projects, then it moves more into the implementation, and there you're trying to make sure that the designs and the implementations are aligned to your future state, which you've defined in terms of technology and business, and you're trying to make sure that people are making the right decisions with the right information. And you really string all that together end to end, and to us, that's what enterprise architecture is all about. In the case where we are working with a business on either a cloud transformation, a business transformation, a digital transformation, we'll typically start by helping that program or that implementation really define what it is they need to do, and again, align it to the business goals and objectives for that strategy or whatever it happens to be. We use a business capability-based approach there that really involves the business units in the planning. It does a really exceptional job of defining the benefits that you're going to achieve, and is also a really great way to really identify the scope of the program, right? What is all of the things that we need to do in order to make this successful? And then how do we scope that up into projects on a roadmap? So it ends up being that kind of planning and engagement type of thing that is really effective for these large strategies and programs. I'd like to talk a little bit about our enterprise architecture operating model. Everybody understands what EA is, but it's surprisingly difficult to have an effective model in your organization. So what we've tried to do is take all of the different standards and approaches that are out there, things like TOGAF and the Zachman framework and all the different ways that people have approached architecture over the years, and build it into a more simplified model so that we've got something that represents the process that you need to put in place for architecture, and also the different capabilities that you need to have to be effective at architecture. And, a couple things, it goes across the various architecture domains: business architecture, solution architecture, data architecture, and then your infrastructure or systems architecture. And then it also provides the governance that you need around that. But we really try to focus on what's going to work in an organization. It's not a one-size-fits-all. So our model is very flexible. I focus a lot on the culture of the organization too, because many cultures have rejected EA in the past. So you kind of have to figure out how do we build this in a way that it's going to work within your organization. Another key element of our model is building of what we call a business knowledge base that operates within this model. And if you think about any organization, you've got lots of projects in flight, and people are producing really good deliverables and artifacts and assets, but they tend to get lost. They end up in a project team room somewhere, and even though it's a great artifact, nobody ever sees it again. So one of the things that we try to do is figure out how do we pull those things out as they're produced and really put them in a library, a knowledge base that makes them reusable, so that the next project that comes along can take that asset off the shelf and improve upon it rather than starting from scratch. And it's a really simple concept, but again, a lot of organizations fail to do that, and it's a key part of our model.